Listen to me carefully. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is silence. We live in a world where everyone wants to respond, explain, defend, and prove themselves. But there are moments in your life when God whispers something powerful to your spirit. Stop talking. I'm handling it. Some battles are not yours to fight. Some situations are not yours to fix. Some enemies are not yours to confront. Because when God steps into the situation, your words can get in the way of His work. The problem is, many of us talk too much when we should trust more. We try to explain ourselves to people who have already made up their minds. We try to defend our reputation to people who are committed to misunderstanding us. But hear me today. When God is defending you, silence becomes your weapon. There are moments when God will tell you, "Be still and watch what I'm about to do." They may gossip about you. They may criticize you. They may try to sabotage your progress. But God said, "The battle is not yours, it belongs to me." Sometimes your silence is not weakness. Your silence is strategy. Because while you are quiet, God is moving pieces behind the scenes. While you are quiet, God is exposing lies. While you are quiet, God is opening doors nobody can shut. You don't need to explain your calling to everyone. You don't need to prove your worth to people who cannot see your value. Let them talk, because while they are talking, God is working. And when God finishes what He started, the same people who doubted you will stand in amazement and say, "How did this happen?" And the answer will be simple, because God handled it. So today I challenge you. Stop fighting every battle. Stop answering every critic. Stop explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand you. Instead, be still. Trust God in the silence. Trust God in the waiting. Trust God in the unseen moments, because when God handles it, He does it better than you ever could. And when the miracle finally appears, you will realize something powerful. Your silence was not weakness. It was faith. Silence can be one of the strongest expressions of faith a person can ever show. In a world that constantly tells you to react, defend, explain, and argue, choosing silence requires a deep trust that something greater is working on your behalf. Many people think silence means weakness, but in reality, it can mean strength. It means you trust that truth does not need constant defense, and that what is meant for you cannot be destroyed by someone else's words. Think about the moments in life when someone misunderstands you. Maybe at work, a co-worker spreads rumors about you. Your first instinct is to explain everything, to prove you are right, to fight for your reputation. But faith sometimes whispers something different into your spirit. It says, "Stay calm, stay quiet, let time reveal the truth." When you choose silence in that moment, you are not surrendering your dignity. You are placing your trust in something bigger than human opinions. Consider a student who studies day and night while others mock his dedication. They laugh at him, call him boring, and say he is wasting his youth. He could argue with them, defend his choices, and try to convince them he is right, but instead he stays quiet and keeps working. Months later, when the results come out and his success becomes visible, his silence becomes more powerful than any argument he could have made. His actions speak louder than the noise around him. Silence is also powerful in relationships. Imagine a family disagreement where emotions are running high. Words become weapons, and every sentence adds more fire to the conflict. In that moment, the strongest person in the room is often the one who pauses and refuses to fuel the storm. That silence is not defeat. It is wisdom. It is the understanding that some battles grow stronger with every word spoken. Sometimes peace begins the moment someone decides not to react. Faith-filled silence also appears in moments of waiting. A person might pray for years, for a dream, a job, or a breakthrough. People around them begin to doubt. They ask questions, they criticize, they say it will never happen. The person could constantly defend their hope, but instead they remain steady and quiet. Their silence is not empty, it is full of belief. It is the quiet confidence that what is planted in faith will eventually grow in reality. In daily life, you see this strength in a parent who works quietly for their children without complaining, in an entrepreneur who keeps building while others doubt, in a person who refuses to respond to insults because they know their purpose is bigger than temporary noise. Silence in these moments becomes a declaration of inner power. It says, "I know who I am, I know what I believe. I do not need to shout my faith for it to be real." There are moments in life when people feel the urge to fight every battle that appears in front of them. Someone criticizes you, and you want to answer. Someone disrespects you, and you want to prove them wrong. Someone tries to block your progress, and you feel the need to push back immediately. But wisdom teaches a powerful truth. Not every battle is yours to fight. Some battles belong to God, and when you try to handle them on your own, you only exhaust your mind and drain your spirit. Think about the workplace. A coworker spreads negative rumors about you because they feel threatened by your progress. The natural reaction is to defend yourself in front of everyone. You want to explain every detail and clear your name instantly. But sometimes the strongest move is to focus on your work and let your integrity speak for itself. While you stay focused, truth begins to reveal itself. Managers notice your consistency. Results speak louder than accusations. What looked like a battle meant to destroy you becomes a stage where your character is revealed. In families, battles also appear. A relative may constantly criticize your choices or compare you to others. They question your career, your decisions, even your dreams. You could spend hours trying to convince them that your path is valid. You could argue, defend, and explain every step of your journey. But sometimes faith whispers something deeper. You don't have to fight this. Your peace becomes more important than their approval. While you stay calm and focused on your purpose, life itself begins to prove your worth. Another example appears in friendships. Sometimes people misunderstand your intentions and assume the worst about you. They talk behind your back or judge you without knowing the full story. Many people feel the need to chase every rumor and correct every misunderstanding. But imagine the power of stepping back and realizing that your energy is too valuable to waste on every opinion. When you allow God to handle what you cannot control, the truth eventually rises on its own. Life also presents battles in the form of setbacks. Someone might lose a job unexpectedly. At first, it feels like an unfair attack from life itself. Anger and frustration rise quickly. But sometimes what looks like a battle is actually a redirection. A person who loses one opportunity might later discover a path that is even greater than the one they lost. What seemed like defeat becomes preparation for something bigger. There are also moments when people try to compete with you unnecessarily. They measure your success, compare their life to yours, and attempt to challenge you in ways that drain your peace. You could join the competition and constantly prove yourself, but sometimes the wiser decision is to step away and focus on your own growth. When your energy stays focused on purpose instead of conflict, progress becomes unstoppable. Understanding that some battles belong to God brings a deep sense of calm. It allows a person to release the pressure of controlling everything. Instead of reacting to every attack, every criticism, and every obstacle, they learn to stand firm and trust that justice, truth, and timing are working in ways they cannot always see. Trying to defend yourself to everyone is one of the fastest ways to lose your energy and your peace. The moment you start chasing every opinion, every rumor, and every misunderstanding, your life becomes a battlefield of explanations. But the truth is simple and powerful. Not everyone deserves an explanation, and not every accusation deserves your response. There are people who have already decided what they want to believe about you, and no amount of explanation will change their minds. Think about a person who starts a small business. At the beginning, many people around them doubt their decision. Friends may say it is risky, relatives may say it will fail, and others might even laugh behind their back. If that person tries to defend their dream to every critic, they will spend more time explaining than building. Every conversation becomes a debate. Every meeting becomes an attempt to prove something. Slowly, their focus shifts away from the work that truly matters. Now imagine a different response. Instead of arguing with everyone, the person quietly continues working. While others talk, they improve their skills. While others question their vision, they keep moving forward step by step. Months later, when the business starts growing, the same people who demanded explanations begin to see the results. Success answers questions that arguments never could. The same pattern appears in social media. One negative comment appears under someone's work, and suddenly the person feels the urge to reply and defend themselves. Then another comment appears, and another one follows. Before they realize it, hours have passed responding to strangers who never intended to understand them. Their energy disappears in a digital argument that brings no value to their life. Peace begins when a person realizes that their worth does not depend on convincing everyone. Some people misunderstand you because they only see a small part of your story. Others judge you because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Trying to correct every misunderstanding becomes an endless task, like trying to stop the wind with your hands. Consider a young professional in an office who works quietly and focuses on their responsibilities. Sometimes colleagues may question their choices or gossip about their progress. If the person constantly defends themselves, they become emotionally exhausted. Every day becomes a mission to protect their image. But when they stop chasing approval and focus on excellence, something powerful happens. Their results start speaking on their behalf. In relationships, too, this lesson becomes clear. During disagreements, people often feel the need to explain themselves again and again, hoping the other person will finally understand. But sometimes the more you talk, the less you are heard. Silence can protect your peace when conversations turn into endless cycles of blame. Energy is one of the most valuable resources in life. Every minute spent defending yourself from unnecessary criticism is a minute taken away from growth, creativity, and progress. When you stop trying to convince everyone, your mind becomes calmer and your focus becomes sharper. You begin to realize that the people who truly matter will understand you without endless explanations, and those who refuse to understand will continue to misunderstand no matter how clearly you speak. Silence creates space for things that cannot happen in noise. When a person becomes quiet, they begin to realize that not every movement in life needs their control. Many times people rush to fix every problem, respond to every accusation, and force every opportunity. But there are moments when stepping back and remaining silent allows something greater to begin moving behind the scenes. Imagine someone who is unfairly criticized at work. Their name is mentioned in conversations they were never part of, and assumptions start spreading through the office. The natural reaction is to rush from person to person, explaining the truth, defending every detail, and trying to correct every rumor. But sometimes the strongest response is quiet confidence. Instead of fighting every voice, they stay focused on their work, their discipline, and their character. While they remain calm, situations begin to shift. Managers notice their consistency. The truth begins to surface through actions rather than arguments. Silence is also powerful during moments of waiting. A person may pray for a breakthrough for years, whether it is a new opportunity, a financial change, or a dream they carry deep in their heart. People around them might question their patience. They ask, "Why are you still believing for this? Why don't you move on?" But deep inside, the person feels a quiet conviction. They do not need to explain their faith to everyone. They continue working, preparing, and trusting that unseen progress is taking place. Think about a seed planted in the soil. When it is buried under the ground, nothing appears to be happening on the surface. Days pass, sometimes weeks pass, and there is only silence above the soil. But beneath that quiet surface, transformation is taking place. Roots are forming, strength is developing, growth is preparing itself before it becomes visible. Life often works the same way. While everything appears still, unseen movement is happening. In relationships, too, silence can open the door for change. During heated arguments, people often say things they later regret. Words spoken in anger create wounds that take years to heal. But when someone pauses and chooses silence instead of reacting immediately, that moment can prevent damage that words would have created. Silence gives emotions time to settle and wisdom time to speak. Another example appears when people face injustice. Someone might be falsely accused or misunderstood by others. They feel the urge to fight every claim immediately. Yet sometimes when a person refuses to enter the chaos and simply continues living with integrity, truth slowly reveals itself through time. The same people who doubted them begin to see the reality that patience protected. Silence is not empty. It is full of trust. It is the quiet belief that not everything needs to be forced into place by human effort. While someone is calm, steady, and patient, circumstances can shift in ways they could never arrange on their own. Doors open unexpectedly, the right people appear at the right time, and situations that once looked impossible begin to change without loud effort or endless arguments. People will misunderstand you at different stages of your life, and sometimes they will do it without even trying to know the real story. The mistake many people make is believing that every misunderstanding must be corrected. They feel the need to explain themselves again and again, hoping that eventually everyone will see their true intentions. But the truth is that not everyone deserves endless explanations, especially those who have already decided to misunderstand you. Imagine a person who decides to change their life and pursue a dream that others cannot understand. Maybe they leave a comfortable job to start something new. Family members question their decision. Friends whisper doubts. Some people even say they are being unrealistic. The person might spend hours explaining their vision, trying to convince everyone that their plan makes sense. But after a while, they realize something powerful. Those who truly support them do not need constant explanations, and those who doubt them will continue doubting no matter how much they talk. There is a quiet strength in understanding that your journey is not meant to be understood by everyone. Some people see life through their own fears and limitations. When they hear about your plans, they measure your future using their past experiences. When they see your courage, they compare it with their own hesitation. Their misunderstanding often says more about their perspective than it does about your choices. Consider a student who studies late into the night while others are enjoying distractions. Friends may say the student is wasting their youth. They may laugh and say life is not meant to be that serious. The student could spend time explaining their goals, describing the future they are trying to build, but deep down they know something simple. Success does not require everyone's approval. Instead of endless explanations, they keep focusing on their studies. Years later, when the results appear, the same people who questioned their dedication finally understand what the silence was protecting. Misunderstanding also happens in relationships. Sometimes a person's kindness is mistaken for weakness, or their quiet nature is mistaken for arrogance. They might try to explain their personality repeatedly, hoping others will see their true intentions. But when someone refuses to understand, explanations become a cycle that never ends. Each new conversation leads to another misunderstanding. There are also moments when people intentionally twist your words or actions because it benefits their narrative. In these situations, explanations do not solve the problem. The person has already chosen their version of the story. Trying to correct them repeatedly only drains your peace and energy. Wisdom grows when a person learns the difference between someone who is confused and someone who is committed to misunderstanding. The first may deserve patience and clarity. The second does not deserve endless emotional investment. Your life becomes lighter when you stop chasing approval from people who never intended to give it. Every moment spent defending yourself unnecessarily is a moment taken away from building the life you truly want. When you release the need to be understood by everyone, your focus shifts back to growth, purpose, and the quiet confidence that the people who truly belong in your journey will recognize your character without demanding constant explanations. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that not every fight deserves their voice and not every situation deserves their explanation. That moment is the beginning of wisdom, because strength is not always found in the loudest response, and power is not always proven by the last word. Sometimes the greatest power you will ever discover is the power to stand still, remain calm, and trust that what is meant for you cannot be destroyed by anyone's opinion. There are people who will talk about you without knowing your story. There are people who will judge your silence as weakness because they cannot understand the discipline it takes to hold your peace. But listen carefully. A lion does not turn around every time a dog barks. A mountain does not move every time the wind blows. Real strength is steady. Real strength does not need constant validation. The world is full of noise. Everyone has something to say. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone believes they know what is best for your life. But your purpose was never designed to be controlled by the voices around you. Your path is bigger than their assumptions. Your future is stronger than their doubts. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back and say within your spirit, I will not waste my energy explaining myself to people who are committed to misunderstanding me. I will not fight battles that were never mine to fight. I will not lose my peace trying to control things that God is already handling. There is a quiet confidence that begins to grow inside a person who understands this truth. They walk differently. They move differently. They stop reacting to every storm because they know that storms eventually pass. They stop chasing approval because they know their value was never determined by applause. Look at the strongest people you know. They are not the ones who argue the most. They are the ones who remain calm when chaos surrounds them. They are the ones who keep working when others keep talking. They are the ones who understand that destiny does not need constant defense. While others are busy criticizing, they are busy building. While others are busy gossiping, they are busy growing. While others are busy doubting, they are busy believing. And the day always comes when the results appear. The same people who questioned you begin to watch in silence. The same voices that doubted you begin to wonder how everything changed. And in that moment you realize something powerful. You did not need to fight every battle because the truth has a way of rising on its own. Your silence was not weakness. It was discipline. Your patience was not delay. It was preparation. Your faith was not blind hope. It was quiet certainty. So when life becomes loud and people demand explanations, remember this simple truth. Peace is more valuable than winning arguments. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. Protect the quiet confidence that tells you to keep moving forward. Let them talk while you keep working. Let them doubt while you keep believing. Let them question while you keep walking in purpose. Because when the right moment arrives and the doors begin to open, when the opportunities appear and the victories become visible, the noise of yesterday will fade into silence, and the only voice that will matter is the voice of destiny, reminding you that everything happened exactly the way it was meant to happen.